The divine reflection in love and kindness. When we think about spirituality and our spiritual journey, many of us seek visible signs or moments of great revelation. However, spiritual awakening often happens silently, in the simplest details of daily life. And perhaps the greatest reflection of the divine presence in our lives is not found in grand visions or extraordinary miracles, but in something much more accessible and powerful: the love and kindness we express to one another. In a world that often seems marked by apathy and selfishness, how can we understand spirituality as the daily experience of small acts of generosity? Spiritual connection is not something sought only in moments of deep prayer or intense meditation. It also reveals itself in every shared smile, in every help offered, in every gesture of empathy that touches another human being's heart. When we ask ourselves about how we reflect the divine presence, we need to look at everyday actions, those we might consider too small to make a difference. However, these small acts of kindness are, in fact, powerful channels of spiritual transformation, both for the giver and the receiver. They are a manifestation of the spiritual wisdom taught to us by Christ. That love should be the foundation of everything we do. In this video, we will explore how acts of kindness, no matter how simple, are reflections of God's presence in our lives. We will reflect on how spiritual empathy and the ability to do good without expecting anything in return not only affects others, but also strengthens our own spiritual connection with the Creator. We will be challenged to reassess the ways of living spirituality in daily life, always seeking to be the light in the lives of those around us. Throughout this chapter and those that follow, you will discover how each small gesture can be a way to manifest the divine presence. Now, I invite you to embark with me on this journey of reflection about love and kindness. Throughout this video, we will explore the relationship between these gestures and the true essence of spirituality. How can we live a genuine faith that is not limited to rituals or prayers, but is translated into tangible actions of kindness? Over the next few minutes, we will understand how these simple acts of generosity can become powerful vehicles for awakening divine consciousness in our lives. The first step of this journey will be to explore how spirituality is reflected in our daily acts of kindness. Then, we will understand how these acts can be seen as signs of divine guidance and how they bring us closer to a deeper connection with God. At the end of the video, you will be invited to reflect on your own path and how you can integrate even more of these gestures of love into your daily life. In this video, we will explore the following topics: kindness as an expression of spirituality, how small acts of generosity are a direct reflection of the divine presence, spiritual empathy, how empathy is a spiritual skill that connects us to others and to the Creator, spiritual transformation through action, how acts of kindness generate a transformation in our spiritual journey, reflecting Christ's love in the world, how to live Christ's example through concrete actions, call to action, how you can begin to live more generously and spiritually in your own daily life. At the end of this first chapter, what we would like to reflect on is that kindness is not just a moral virtue, but a true spiritual practice. Each gesture of compassion, each act of generosity are opportunities to live spirituality in a deeper and more conscious way. By exercising love and kindness, we not only help others, but are also cultivating our own spiritual connection. Kindness as an expression of spirituality. Throughout our spiritual journey, we often find ourselves searching for signs of God, looking for evidence of His presence and guidance in special moments. But what if what we seek was already within our reach, in daily interactions, in kind words, in gestures of help, and in acts of kindness we offer to one another? Kindness, when practiced genuinely, is not just a moral action, but a powerful manifestation of the divine presence. It is the visible expression of spirituality that transcends words and rituals, showing God's love in action to the world. To understand how kindness reflects the divine presence, we need to observe that each act of generosity carries with it a spiritual energy. When we do good, we are not just fulfilling a moral obligation, but creating a spiritual connection with those we help. This connection is part of what many call energetic healing, where the good we do for others has the power to heal us too, bringing peace and renewal to our souls. Each act of kindness can be seen as an offering to the divine, a way to align ourselves with the energy of love and compassion that is God's essence. An example of this can be found in a simple gesture of helping someone with their groceries, giving a welcoming smile to a stranger, or offering a word of encouragement to a friend in difficulty. These small gestures, often unnoticed, have the power to transform someone's day and, by extension, transform our own hearts. It is these simple actions that bring us closer to God, for when we dedicate ourselves to doing good, we are imitating Christ himself, who dedicated his life to service and unconditional love. However, for these gestures to become truly spiritual, they need to come from a pure heart. God's love, reflected through our actions, needs to be selfless and genuine. When we give without expecting anything in return, when we offer our kindness without measuring or questioning the value of what we are doing, we are connecting with the divine in a unique way. These moments of generosity reveal the depth of our spiritual consciousness and allow us to experience God's presence in a more concrete way. Now, I invite you to reflect. Have you ever been touched by a simple gesture of kindness? Perhaps a friendly word or small help was what you needed to change the course of your day. In your own experiences, how has kindness, both from others and your own actions, reflected the divine presence in your life? Would you like to share a story about how an act of kindness impacted your life? Or perhaps you have an experience of how kindness brought you closer to God in unexpected ways. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Together we can share and learn from the countless ways that kindness transforms our lives and brings us closer to God. From this reflection, we will now explore the next theme, which will lead us to understand how spiritual empathy plays a vital role in doing good. Empathy is an essential spiritual skill that allows us not only to understand others, but also to connect with the pain and joy of those around us. When we practice empathy, we are aligned with divine guidance, and this strengthens us even more in our spiritual journey. Spiritual empathy, the bridge that connects us to others and to God. Empathy is one of the fundamental pillars for understanding the true essence of kindness. When we talk about spirituality, we often think about prayers, meditations, or transcendental experiences, but true spiritual empathy goes beyond that. It translates into our ability to feel another's pain, to put ourselves in our neighbor's place, and through this deep connection, act with compassion. Spiritual empathy is not just a feeling, but a skill we can cultivate, a direct reflection of the divine guidance given to us to live God's love in a tangible way. Christ's example is the basis for our understanding of spiritual empathy. He not only taught but also demonstrated this empathy throughout his life. Jesus approached the sick, the excluded, the marginalized, and in doing so, not only healed the body, but also touched these people's souls. He felt and understood others' pain, and his response was always one of unconditional love. When we do the same, we are following his example and, at the same time, allowing the divine presence to manifest in our actions. In practice, spiritual empathy leads us to recognize humanity in others, without judgments, without distinctions. Each act of kindness we practice, whether big or small, becomes an expression of this deep and selfless love. When we look at someone and feel their pain, or share their joy, we are doing more than just being kind. We are allowing God's Spirit to manifest through our action. This is something far beyond simple morality or socially expected behavior. It's about living according to the spiritual consciousness that guides us to be light and compassion in the world. As we reflect on this, we realize that spiritual empathy is not an innate ability. It is cultivated and deepened as we allow ourselves to become more aware of God's presence in our lives and in the world. The more we practice empathy, the more our spiritual consciousness expands, and the closer we get to our true essence. When we feel another's pain, when we do good without expecting anything in return, we are, in fact, touching God's heart. Now, I want to invite you to reflect on how empathy has influenced your own life. Has there ever been a time when you truly put yourself in someone else's place and noticed how it changed the way you acted? Or perhaps you've experienced a situation where someone showed deep empathy and it made all the difference for you. Would you like to share a story about how empathy helped you in a difficult time, or how you used empathy to touch someone else's life? Feel free to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Let's explore together how these gestures of empathy help us grow in our spiritual journey and make us more connected to the divine. Now, with this reflection on empathy, we prepare to move on to the next chapter, where we will explore how these acts of kindness and empathy can generate true spiritual transformation in our lives. We will see how, by practicing these gestures, we not only impact others but also transform ourselves from within, getting closer and closer to God's presence in our daily lives. Spiritual transformation through action as we journey along our spiritual path. It's common to focus on practices such as prayer, meditation, and inner reflection to seek a deeper connection with God. However, we often forget that true spiritual transformation occurs not only within us, but also through the actions we take in the outer world. Kindness, when lived authentically, has the power to transform not only those who receive it, but also those who practice it. By exercising these gestures of love and compassion, we are allowing the divine presence to manifest concretely in our lives. Each small act of kindness, when done with the pure intention of reflecting God's love, is an opportunity for transformation. It's not about performing great deeds, but about living genuinely in the present moment. Spiritual transformation happens when we become more conscious of our capacity to do good, to be light in the world. This process of change isn't instantaneous but gradual, as we align ourselves more deeply with divine guidance and Christ's teachings. True spirituality, therefore, is not limited to what we feel or think, but is expressed in the actions we take in the world. Take, for example, the simple act of helping someone in need. When we extend our hand to someone who is struggling, whether emotionally, financially, or physically, we are not only helping that person, but also allowing our own life to be transformed. Each time we do good, our hearts open more, and our spiritual consciousness expands. When we perform these actions with the intention of imitating Christ, we become more like Him, and this is the true process of spiritual transformation. With each gesture of kindness, we become more aligned with divine truth, more connected with the source of all love. This transformation, however, is not just an internal chain. It also impacts those around us. When we practice acts of kindness, we create a space where others can also experience the divine presence. Often, it is in the midst of an act of compassion or help that others begin to see and feel God's hand in their lives. These moments of spiritual transformation are like seeds that, when planted, germinate and spread, creating a lasting impact in our communities and in the world. Therefore, we invite you to reflect. When was the last time you did something good for someone without expecting anything in return? How did that action make you feel more connected to your own spirituality? What did you learn about yourself by helping others? How can you create more opportunities for your life to be transformed through acts of kindness? Would you like to share in the comments an experience where a simple act of kindness transforms something within you or in the life of someone close to you? We are all together on this journey of spiritual transformation, and your stories can inspire others to act with more love and compassion in the world. Now that we have reflected on the spiritual transformation that comes from our acts of kindness, let's look at the next theme, where we will discuss how to live Christ's love in our daily actions. How can we, through our attitudes, reflect the love that Christ taught us? And how can this be a direct reflection of our spirituality? Christ's love in our daily actions. When we look at Christ's life, we see a perfect example of unconditional love, kindness, and empathy. Jesus didn't reserve His love only for those who followed Him or for those who were around Him, but extended this love to everyone without exception. The question that challenges us as Christians dedicated to our spiritual journey is, how can we reflect this love in our daily actions? How can we, through small gestures and daily choices, express Christ's love and be a manifestation of His divine presence in the world? The answer begins in understanding that spirituality is not something limited to special moments or religious rituals. It must be lived in every act, in every word, and in every look we direct at others. When we practice Christ's love in our daily actions, like a sincere smile to a stranger, support for a friend in crisis, or patience in the face of difficulty, we are reflecting divine kindness and care. These small gestures, though often ignored, are the ones that most deeply express true spirituality, for they make us more like Christ. Living Christ's love requires, above all, a pure and selfless heart, ready to serve without expecting anything in return. He taught us that it's not the greatness of the deeds that matters, but the motivation behind them. In everything we do, there must be the intention to act as He would act, with humility, mercy, and compassion. This is what distinguishes the chosen ones from others, the ability to live with a purpose that reflects divine truth, to be the light of the world through our daily actions. It's important to understand that we don't need to wait for great moments or great causes to practice Christ's love. Each day offers countless opportunities to live this spirituality. When interacting with a co-worker, caring for our children, helping a neighbor, or even being patient in traffic, we have the chance to practice spirituality authentically. These moments, although they may seem common and trivial, are where true spiritual transformation happens. When we do all things with love and with the awareness that we are representing Christ in the world. Now, I invite you to reflect on how you can more fully live Christ's love in your daily life. Are there situations where you have the chance to act with more kindness or compassion, but perhaps have hesitated? How can you, from now on, be more intentional in reflecting Christ's love in small things? Would you like to share a situation where you felt your behavior reflected Christ's love, or a moment when you wish you had acted more lovingly? Leave your comments below, as your experiences can be an inspiration to others who are trying to live spirituality more fully through their daily actions. Together, we can create a network of love and compassion that reflects the divine presence in every corner of the world. With this, we come to the penultimate chapter, where we will reflect on how the constant practice of kindness and love can lead us to an even deeper spiritual connection. How these gestures, no matter how small, can transform not only others, but also ourselves, and bring us closer to God in our spiritual journey. How to live love and kindness in our spiritual journey. We have reached the end of this journey of reflection on how love and kindness are tangible expressions of the divine presence in our lives. During this path, we explored how small gestures of generosity and compassion not only reflect spirituality but also transform us, bringing us closer to God and His wisdom. However, the real question now is, how can we continue to live this spirituality in our daily lives? How can we make love and kindness not just occasional actions, but a constant practice in our spiritual journey? The key to living this love continuously lies in practice. Each act of kindness, no matter how simple it may seem, is an opportunity to connect with divine guidance and to be channels for spiritual transformation, both in our life and in the lives of those around us. Each time we practice Christ's love, we not only manifest His presence in the world, but also become more aware of His presence in our own lives. This is what it means to live a deep spirituality, a spirituality that goes beyond moments of prayer and worship, but is reflected in all our attitudes. The most beautiful thing about all this is that, as we practice love and kindness, our spiritual connection with God strengthens. Spirituality is not something separate from our daily life. It is the force that animates every act, every word, and every thought. As Scripture says, "For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Matthew 6:21. When our treasure is love and kindness, our heart is aligned with God's will, and our life reflects His light. Now, I invite you to reflect. How can these principles of love and kindness be more present in your life? What can you do from today to incorporate more spirituality into your daily actions? Is there something you noticed during this journey that could be the key to deeper personal transformation in your spiritual walk? I want to encourage you to consider how small gestures can have a significant and lasting impact on your life and the lives of others. If you feel this message resonated with you and wish to continue your spiritual journey, remember that true transformation begins from the inside out. By living with more love, kindness, and empathy, you are not only reflecting the divine presence in your life, but also actively participating in the spiritual transformation of the world around you. Would you like to leave a comment or share an experience where love and kindness transformed your life in a special way? We are all on this spiritual journey, and your words can be a point of light for others. Before closing, I invite you to continue following our content, where together we can explore more deeply the power of practical spirituality. By subscribing and sharing with others, you will be helping to spread more love and spiritual wisdom throughout the world. May your life be a continuous reflection of the divine light, which does not fade but spreads more and more, touching everyone around you. With this, we conclude our journey about how love and kindness reflect the divine presence in our lives. May you continue to be light and love in the world, living your spirituality in a practical and transformative way.